Hi everyone, welcome to the Magic of My Ancestors. It is my favorite time of the month, being able to share some amazing conversations with beautiful women coming together, sharing their story, all about their ancestors, their magic, how it really comes into play around their journey, their purpose. And today I'm going to be having an amazing, beautiful woman come on and join Bruja Melissa from the Witching Hour. She's going to come on here in just a second, so we're going to give her a moment. If you are new here, hi everybody, to the Magic of My Ancestors. It is a conversation for women to not feel alone in their community, to know that the things that they want to explore, the way that they want to connect, the things that are coming up for them is all valid. And there's all these amazing women also on this journey, doing all of these beautiful things. And Melissa, if you've ever seen her and checked out her page, she's so funny. She has all these memes. She has great classes that she does all around, her magic and her purpose, and how she shows up is so beautiful. And I can't wait to have her on. So if you're here and you're going to want to ask questions, you can go ahead and do that. I spoke to her and she's going to be more than happy to go ahead and answer questions for you guys around all the things that she does. So we're just going to wait for her to come on. Hi, everybody. Okay. Yeah. So this is I think it's the fifth or the sixth episode in this series, speaking with women all the way from hoodoo to medicine to magic to different types of healing modalities that different women have been able to incorporate, from tarot to brujeria, curanderismo, all the different amazing things that we do. Hi from North Carolina. I'm excited too. We're going to be adding sorry, there we go. All right. We're just waiting for her to jump on real quick. Technical difficulties. There you are.
Hi.
Hey, beautiful. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm just glad I got this right and I'm here.
Oh my gosh, you're here. And so excited to have you join us. Melissa and I had a conversation earlier, and I just want to say thank you to her. This is her first time doing an Instagram Live, and I'm so thankful that she agreed to come on, because she has such powerful medicina. If you follow her, if you haven't followed her, you need to go check her out. But okay, like, I love all the stuff that you do. Like, it is so funny, like half the shit that you put on there. I'm like dying. I was like, we need to not take ourselves so serious all the time, right?
Yeah, that's one of the main things I try to focus on is humor. It's something I've always been humorous, the funny one, and I think that's probably something I need to dig deep in on. But it's definitely a coping mechanism, but I am okay with that. I like to be the funny one, and you've gotta find the humor, you have to. And everything that's
Absolutely.
going on, you have to.
Absolutely. And especially with, the things that you do, and how, the energy and the energia and the ancestors and all the stuff, all the healing work that, you do, that I do, that women, that it's a lot. It could be so heavy sometimes,
Yeah.
right? That being able to incorporate and like laugh at ourselves, and, the brujeria and the witches, and I was just like, okay, let's just bring it back down. We're all trying to just figure it out, right? At the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day. Absolutely. Well, I'm so excited to have you. I would love for you to introduce yourself. I love your page. So once again, this is Bruja Melissa from the Witching Hour. She just has so much beautiful medicine, and I just, I'm so grateful that you're on, and I hope this is, a beautiful experience for you too, because I know everybody that's on here just wants to get all the golden nuggets that you have to share with all of your stuff, so we can just kind of dive in. So first, I'd like to, say thank you for coming. And where are you located?
I'm in California. Southern California.
Awesome. So California girl, little witchy vibes going on. Good. So let's just kind of dive right in. And because the people who follow you, the people who follow me, the people in this community, we're all, in touch with that veil, right? That kind of veil that's between the two. So how do you define your magic?
It's definitely rooted in Mexican folk magic. It's definitely rooted in, what I learned from the females in, my grandmothers, my great-grandmothers. My great-grandmother was a healer. And a few years back, I knew just so little. And a few years back, my mom started opening up to me more and more about her grandmother, who was my great-grandmother, who passed away just after I was born. And my mother has all these illnesses. She had polio as a child, so she has post-polio. So her grandmother was always doing all these things to her. And, as a child, you don't make the connection. You don't understand what's going on. And she didn't understand what was going on. But, as we sat and talked about it like so much later in life, I was like, she was a healer, Mom. She was doing all these things. These are things that I do. These are things that I've been doing for the past couple of years. These are the things I'm doing to help people. And so it kind of connects the dots, like this is why I know what I know without knowing how I know it. So it happens that way. So
it does. And I think that's intuitively, I think it's such a validation, right? Because you didn't know your grandmother, right? Like you didn't know her, but
my great-grandmother.
that calling, your great grandmother, but that calling, it's in the sangre, right?
Yeah.
Like it runs through you without even knowing it. And I don't always think that women, we trust ourselves enough. We trust that intuition enough, that, that part of us that's inside. And, for a lot of people, it's not really supported, right? Like you don't know, you're kind of growing up doing it on your own. And it wasn't until you started having those conversations that you're like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And my mom was my first teacher with astrology. She was always into astrology. And, we're talking the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Like this was a big part of my childhood was, all her friends and cousins, and they'd all go to Linda to find out, who would they be compatible with? What is the best choice for them? And so that was very much part of my life with astrology. But there was a whole other world outside of what I knew. But growing up, I was always drawn to that. I was always drawn to, the occult and all these mysterious things that are taboo. And I grew up in a Catholic family, very Catholic family. My mom, I think, although raised Catholic and had Catholic beliefs, she always towed the line, my dad, very Catholic. But so, yeah, I mean, I was doing things that I didn't know what I was doing until later in life. I'm like, oh shit, I had an altar and I was doing all kinds of stuff. And, and this was in my teenage years. And, you go through those phases when you're young, you go through all those little phases and stuff. And, but I would say that, yes, I think, my magic is rooted in my culture and in traditional folk magic, but you know, it evolves. You know, you take things as you go, or you make a new way, you make a new path, and you figure out what works for you better. But we are constantly evolving. You know, what was available to my great grandma, you know, I'm sure she had a whole huge garden of stuff, you know, and I'm just barely getting to the point where now I have, you know, a good collection of plants that I'm growing myself. But like for the rest of us, we have to, you know, source it, we buy it, with whatever. And there's so many things that we've had to adapt and change and evolve, and that's okay. And I think that that's sometimes frowned upon in certain witching communities, but like that's all we do in life is evolve. We are meant to evolve. We are meant to change, grow, evolve. So in some ways, it's perfectly okay that, you know, I may not do this exactly like my great grandmother did it, but I'm doing it. And I'm sure she's right here telling me, whispering in my ear, but I might change a few things. And like one of my favorite ways to kind of, an example of, you know, nobody makes menudo the same. You know, nobody makes menudo the same. So, I mean, so that's where I feel like my magic is. It's rooted in tradition and folk magic, but also in a lot of other ways that I've grown and
evolved
what works best for me.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing, you know, in my journey, and I'm constantly reminded, is we are the medicine, right? The things that are around us, right? Because, you know, I've talked to other women and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't grow rosemary for anything. Like it doesn't like me. It won't grow in my yard. It grow, you know, anything. But I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like everywhere here, right? So there's certain, as far as I'm concerned, there's certain medicine that's going to be called to you. There's certain plantitas that are going to come into your life. There's going to be certain, you know, things that, you know, I personally, tarot's not my thing, but girl, I love me some oracle cards. That's what feels good. And I think that's the thing, is you're not going to be good at everything, but when you show up and you're excited about it and it feels good in your body, that is your medicina. Those are your tools. Those are the things. And so there's not one right way in order to incorporate all of that beautiful medicine. You have to make your own path, right? Take, learn, grow, adapt, evolve into what feels good to you. Somebody else's recipe, like you said, might not taste good to you. So you add a little this, you do a little that, and it grows into something that you can stand behind, that you love being a part of, that you can heal with and help others heal through. Right. And I think that's so important. And I love that reference, you know, to not everybody makes the menudo the same, you know, we don't all have that same taste. We have to add our own flavor.
Right.
And so I love that. So, you know, talking about the medicina and the magic, you know, what is ancestor medicine to you? Like, if you think about it.
Ancestor medicine to me is the connection. Is making the connection. And one of the things I get asked all the time is, I don't know my ancestors. Like, I don't know my ancestors either. But you can still have a connection. You can still call on them. Your ancestors are your first line of protection. And when I started to connect with my ancestors that I don't know, that I started immediately seeing a change in my life. Like night and day change, like everything. And I'm not saying this is going to happen for everybody, but like things, it was like a heavy load was lifted off me. Like they were just like, let me take some of that for you. And like, I just feel like so overwhelmingly protected. Like I don't worry about shit because I know my ancestors got me. It's fine. They got it. And it's just, you have your abuelas, and you have the people, your aunts and your uncles and your cousins who passed, but beyond that, you don't know them, and that's okay. they're still with you. You are them. The blood is there. The DNA is there. They are there. And all you have to do is call on them. It's not a big magical ritual that needs to take place. Talk to them. And I get frustrated when I see people like promoting classes or whatever to teach you how to connect with your ancestors, because it's like, just talk to them. Just talk to them. That's all you got to do. Every night at night before I go to bed, I call it my spiritual entourage. So I have my
Oh my God, I love
ancestors,
that.
my spirit guides, my deities, whoever I'm working with or calling on and stuff. Like, that's my entourage. That's my barrier. That's my protection. And that's they're there to be with me. They're there to guide me. They're there to, put me on the right track whenever I'm just like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And they help balance and center you if you're listening, if you're, tuned in, because they might say go this way and you're going to go that way. So you gotta tune in. So my ancestral medicine is connection to them.
I love that. I think it's so, there's just so much. There's just so much there. You're like, oh, I got my little entourage. I love that, because that's what it feels like, right? Like, when you are there, you're just like, I got you here. I got you here. You feel that. And I think that's such an important, because I get asked that question too. Like, how do you connect? How do you, because you work, setting up altars. I do altars, and I think the reminder is we are the altar. Like, we are already the fire. We are already the water. We are already all of the things that we need in order to call them forward. Right?
Absolutely. The altar, and I'm pointing to my altar that you can't see, but the altar and the candles and the offerings, that's just the cherry on top.
That's the extra.
That's the extra. That's the extra step you go to. Hey, this is how much I appreciate you. I'm honoring you. I want to give you something for everything you do for me. That's the extra step. But it's you. It's in you. It's you.
Yes. And I think so many people, and I completely understand, because there's some people that need like A, B, and C. Okay, do A, center yourself. Do B, do C. You know what I mean? Some people just need a little direction, and I completely understand that. Like, I really do. When I started, I was just trying to figure it out. Same like you. Because we all connect differently, right? So it's going to be different for each of us, but I think it's important, and I think it's so powerful that the medicine for you is just connection. It's being open. It's being open to receiving that connection, and I think that's a big part of it. Because a lot of times we're just like, oh yeah, give me a sign. You're like, wait a second, not that sign, right? Like, so you all right. So we say we want to receive, but that, do we really want to receive? Are we really open to receiving? Those signs, and that takes a little bit of work, because it makes you get out of your head and into your spirit. And
and that's hard. That's hard for a lot of people. It's so hard.
It's exhausting. Let's be honest.
It's really hard to reprogram your brain to, just to be open, receive, because there's too much chatter. There's too much static. There's too much noise. And that's one thing I really try to push on a lot of my clients is like, don't listen to it. You have to get to a place where you're not listening to the noise and listen to your intuition, your gut. That's where you need to be. Because if you're listening to all the chatter and stuff, you're never going to get to where you need to be.
Right. And I was speaking to somebody, and they're like, oh my God, it's such hard work. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is. And I wish I could say like, oh yeah, it's like poof, it's so easy, but it's not. But the work is so worth it, because you'll get to a place where it becomes seamless, and it becomes joyous, and it just becomes like something else you do. Like, you brush your teeth and you're just like, hey abuelita, how's it going? It's just, right? Like, you're just talking and receiving, and like, I see you, thank you for that. And right? It becomes, just like a beautiful part of your day, right? Not now. There's other stuff that comes with it. That's a different
Right.
conversation, that we go through. But it really is so beautiful, and such a beautiful reminder that it's just a connection, and it's really that simple. It
Mm-hmm.
really is that connection. And so thank you for sharing that. I think that's a beautiful reminder. And so talking about connection, how do you connect with your ancestors?
Like I said, I mean, when I first started to do that, it was just at night, and I continue to do it. It's just at night before I go to bed, instead of, your normal prayers.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do. I would just talk to my ancestors, and, start with my grandparents, and, those who passed away that I have known in this lifetime. And then I branch it out to those that I don't know from, previous lifetimes, and people who came before me. And I think it's so important to tell them that you appreciate them, that whatever they did in their lives, the hard work, the sacrifices, the things that they had to go through in their lifetime, because it couldn't have been easy, to thank them, and thank them for making it better for you now, because everything that they did then had an effect on where we are now,
Mm-hmm.
as women, as Mexicans, Hispanics, Latinos, whatever. They went through a lot for me to be here. So I always offer my appreciation and gratitude for that. And I think with a lot, like spirits, and I think they want to be seen, like in a way that they're remembered. And I think that is a good step forward in connecting with them, is appreciation, gratitude, acknowledging them. So that's,
And if you think about the basic, concept of that, we as people just want to be seen. We just want to be heard. Our basic need, like if you have a partner, if you're in a work environment, you want your voice to be acknowledged. You want your ideas, to be able, you want to be able to voice those things, right? And just being acknowledged that we see you, we hear you, we appreciate you, all those basic loving things that we want for ourselves, that's what we're able to give to our antepasados who maybe didn't have that. My Mama Maria, and, she grew up in a rancho, very machismo, very time. I don't know if anybody ever gave her flowers. I don't know if she, had the luxury. I know she didn't have the things that I have, the opportunities that I have, the appreciation, that I am, the self-awareness. It's because it was just their daily life, right?
Right.
But being able to see that in your ancestors and say, I appreciate you, I forgive you, I love you, whatever it is that is for you, to be able to create that beautiful connection where it feels good to show up for them. Because that's the other thing, for me anyways, is being able to show up in love and reverence and veneration and respect makes that connection that much stronger, right? Because we want to be there. We want to have that conversation. And so I think that's a beautiful reminder of just acknowledging them.
Yeah. And then the other thing, of course, is, acknowledging them, talking to them, communicating with them, but then also having a space for them, a friend, altar for them. There's going to be some past loved ones that you have photos of, and, you can honor them that way. I always highly recommend, a white candle. It doesn't have to be anything special. I have an ancestor candle too, but it could be a white candle, water, a glass of water. I usually like to give some kind of alcohol, some kind of booze them up a little, and flowers, all the normal stuff, but just for them, a space for them. But that's also another step to having a relationship with them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that comes in time, right? Not,
Right.
because sometimes people like to add crystals, or they go out and they pick up, a rock, and they're just like, oh my gosh, I really needed, this thing and this called to me, and, you can put it on your, there's just so many things that you can
Oh yeah.
incorporate,
I think we've all,
as,
those of us who
oh
have
yeah.
altars, we all know how little it starts and then how huge
Oh,
it gets.
girl, yes. There's like inside altars, outside
Mhm.
altars. There's open, right? It could
Yes.
go on and on. Yes.
Mhm.
Like I see you. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Yes. And so then it kind of goes into, we're talking about the connection and different, and, connecting with the ancestors. But now that we've connected, how do you feel that surrendering and really incorporating your magic has helped guide you and the work that you do?
I don't know. I think surrendering is like such a higher level of, of really understanding, like, you just gotta let it go. You just gotta let it go and let it happen. And it's very hard to get to that point. And there are still times where I'm just like, I can't let this go. I can't surrender. But
The
but I
resistance,
know
right?
it's right. I know it's right. But I think, like, to know me like 10 years ago and to know me now, like the amount of surrendering and no fucks given is like so huge. Like, and I think that's what a lot of people struggle with, is just
Mhm.
you can't care as much as you care about the dumb stuff, the things, that the toxic stuff, the toxic people, there's so many things that we gotta cut those ties from. And it's just so hard for some people to do that. But it's amazing how far you get when you let go of all of that stuff. When you finally let go of all that stuff that's been dragging you down, how far you get in your magic and your life and how you feel. And I just, like, I rarely worry. I rarely worry. I rarely
Mm.
feel like upset. Like, it takes me a lot to get mad. And it's just like, I'm just like, whatever. And that, I think that is a surrendering. And it came from my magic. It came from this journey, these years of learning to understand me, to
Yes.
learning who I am and why I am the way I am. And I think that's a huge part in life itself, is, why are you the way you are? Why do you do these things you do? And what do you need to do to get rid of the things that are not good about you anymore? And either accept them, own up to them, whatever you need to do,
Or
and
let that shit go.
let it go. And it's just that part of my life where I was just like, letting it go. I can't do this anymore. I can't deal with these people anymore. I can't do this. Like, I feel like I excelled more in my magic. Like, things just started to fall into place better for me.
I agree with that. And I think everybody's different. Everybody's journey is different. But for me, I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'll be 44 this year. And
You too.
77?
77. Yep, I'll
Oh,
be
girl.
44 on November 3rd. It's coming up. It's
Oh
coming
my
up
gosh, that's
quick.
my sister's birthday. You're Scorpio.
I'm a Scorpio. Yep.
I'm on the 27th. I'm
Oh, okay.
Sagittarius.
You're
Ooh,
Sagittarius.
I am. So, part of my thing is when I turned 40, like, you could see my canas and you could see all my stuff. I was done. I was tired. I was like, why am I doing this? Who am I doing this for? I'm so tired of, I was just exhausted. I had the whole, for me, it's just like, I went back to school. I let my hair just like, I don't want to be I don't want to be colonized. I don't want somebody else's standard of beauty. I don't want somebody else to tell me the standard of my magic and my medicine. And I don't want to, I just being, I don't know what we're allowed to say or not, but like, I just didn't want to give a fuck anymore
Yeah.
about anybody, and I was standing in my own way. It was me. It was what I was allowing, what I wasn't allowing into my life. It was, what I didn't accept about myself. It was just so much about my own ego, my own issues, all of my stuff.
Yeah.
And once I started, you know, surrendering to who I actually was, that I gave myself permission to become her.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think age has a lot to do with it. I think
thank
age has a
you.
lot to do with it. And it's, I have a lot of young followers. I have a lot of little
Yeah.
baby witches and everything, and I love them, and for the most part they all have their heads on straight. They're very
Yeah.
smart. But it's and as being when you were a teenager or even in your 20s, you know it all. You know it all when you're that
Oh, yeah.
age. And
I have a couple kids that age. Yeah.
okay.
They know everything.
So my oldest is just turned 22. And but yeah, you know everything. You feel like your life is like you can't do things fast enough, And one of the number one things that people come to me for is usually relationship stuff. And
Of course.
it's really hard for me to just tell them like this isn't the end all be all. This is, this is just part of your journey. This isn't your soulmate. This isn't your twin flame. This is a learning experience, and that's okay. I know, but I think we in society are just still, and I don't even know how we're still here, where it's like you grow up and you find your mate, you get married, and you have kids, and you do this and you do that, and for whatever reason, it's in your 20s that you're supposed to do this. And I think people are still in that mindset, like I got to do this now. I got to do this now. And how is that still a thing? I don't know, but I think that's where we kind of all get a little bit fucked up, is in that time frame. Like I know I got married at 21. Why? Why did I get married at 21? But then it's like, because that's the mindset
Somebody told us that that's the way that it's supposed to be.
Somebody told us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, generations and generations, this is the way it's been done. You get pregnant, you get married, you whatever, but for whatever reason, the finish line of marriage is in your 20s, and that shouldn't even be a thing anymore. And I think these kids are so eager to grow up and to get married and to, have all these things. I think it's changing more now with the millennials. Yeah. But I mean, for a long time, that's been
that's been a thing. Yeah. And I agree. I think age has a lot to do, for me anyways. That was, so I can't speak for everybody, but for me, I always tell people, like, I don't know why people don't tell you how, fabulous 40s are, because I love my 40s. I wish somebody would have told me like how amazing your 40s are going to be, because I would have, we have so many things. We're supposed to look a certain way, and we're supposed to do a certain thing, and we're supposed to and all this stuff. And 40s are pretty badass.
I love it.
As far as I'm concerned. Thank you.
I think it's great. I had no idea I would feel this way, but I love it.
Thank you. I do too. I see you, girl.
I love it so much. And just like, and everything's like, oh, I'm in my 40s. Oh no, I don't care.
They're like, I'm good. They're like, I'm good. Like, I don't know what you're doing over. That's just, I'm good. I know. I love it. Okay. So we can talk about, that's a whole nother subject.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're talking about connection, and we're talking about magic, and, how it helps guide us, by allowing ourselves to become who we are, right? I think that's just so important. So have you had a really profound experience that you've connected with your ancestor and you knew, you're like, that is my sign? Like you knew without a doubt it was something that you had called for, there was an answer, there was just like that profound experience for you that you can share?
I think prior to having a big Instagram page and prior to offering services,
Yeah.
just when I was I didn't even know there was a whole witching community out there. But when I was just doing my own thing by myself, I had a thing happen between me and my partner, my fiance, where he was having all these physical issues, and I was just like, let me try to do something. Let me just see what I can do. And, I made him lay down. The room was dark, and I just started like intuitively just doing something with my hands and touching where I felt like I should go. And I just felt like, I don't know, like something in me, something told me, this is where you need to go. This is what you need to touch. This is what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it just felt like it was
intuitively
coming
guided.
outside. It was coming from outside of me, inside of me. And he swears that he felt like a pop inside him, and then like everything just felt better. Like everything just, he explains it as like there was this big black dark box inside of him, and whatever I did, it just went away. And like from that point on, like things started shifting for him. Things started, like he started his own healing journey. And so I think that moment always sticks to me. Like, so then I'm always like, remember that one time I healed you?
Remember when I like went like this, like sana colita de rana, and I went out there? Yeah. You know
so
what I'm talking
that
about.
always sticks with me. Like something, like it just felt like something outside of me. Like, it was just like, this is what you need to do. You know this. You got this. Let's do this.
Trust it. Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Oh, there's so much. And you know what? Once again, there's so much surrendering that happens between a person who trusts you and when you trust yourself. Because that plane where somebody says, okay, I am fully, like when I'm fully vulnerable in this space, right? When somebody trusts you that much and that you're able to also tune in and trust yourself and trust that, there is some beautiful magic that happens in there. And that's been my experience. And that's what came to mind. It's like these beautiful people coming together and trust. And like, there's just all this magic happening, like in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Because of the love and the respect that you have for each other, you know, and the energetic exchange that happens. Sometimes I think people don't always understand, you know, that we are consistently exchanging energy and we're exchanging life and we're exchanging moments and all this stuff. And all of that can be such a beautiful and profound experience. And if people just knew all the beautiful things that can happen, you know, in that space. I love that. That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Ooh, that was
I've
good.
never told it before. That's the first time I've ever told it.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing it with us. I completely, when you were telling me that, I was like, ooh, girl, she got some magic. There's some magic going on in there.
Well, the moment too was like, did I fix it? Did I do that?
Like, was that me?
No,
like, was that me?
Yeah, I was just like, you know, did I do it? But yeah.
But you know, right? Like it just takes over and it just, I love that. Thank you for sharing. I didn't realize that you had never shared that before.
Yeah,
Thank
I've
you for
never shared that one
trusting.
before.
I love that. Thank you. So I want to be conscious of your time, and everything. And I know that there's people in here who I think maybe had questions, but we're going to um, kind of close it out with some advice. You say you have followers, people that follow me, people that, message you and you don't want to know all this stuff. For somebody who's beginning their connection with their ancestors, what advice would you give them?
One of the things that I get asked a lot is, what if my ancestors were bad people?
Yeah.
And that's a valid question. That is a very
Yes, it
valid
is.
question. And because we all have family members who aren't the best people. We all
They're
have
just
some,
not.
they're just not. And the only way I can explain this is I personally feel like the spiritual realm, the spiritual world is far more than we can comprehend as humans. And I think that things on the other side weed themselves out. I don't think we're given the bad. I don't think the bad are given to us to guide us. I think on the spiritual realm, it's hard to there's no way we can comprehend it. There's just no way we can really comprehend how things work over there on that side. But I really feel like we wouldn't be given guides or spirits or anything that are bad. Now, they exist, yes. They're out there, yes. Can you call them and get yourself in a bad place? Absolutely. But I don't think that we are given them as our ancestors to call upon. I don't think the bad ones aren't gonna come. And I feel like we somehow are safe from that. So I don't want people to worry about, what about the bad people? What about the bad things and the bad? And what if what if my ancestors were slave owners and stuff like that? And that's it's a very difficult thing, but I just always tell them, just don't worry about that stuff. Don't worry about that stuff. You will be sent the ancestors you need to be sent. And so focus on that. Don't focus on all the negativity. Focus on the ancestors that want to be with you, that want to guide you, that want to help you, are going to be the ones that are going to come to you. So my number one advice is to just talk to them. Just talk to them. Start there. Just at night, before you go to bed. That's when I do it. You can do it anytime, but that's when I do it. I have full-on conversations with my ancestors, with my grandparents, especially with, my aunts and uncles who passed, cousins, whoever. But I have full-on conversations with them. But like I said earlier, they just want to be acknowledged. That's all you need. That's all you need to do. Just acknowledge them. And the more you do that, the more you will see that things start falling into place. Things start getting a little bit easier. Things start getting a little bit better. They are your first line of protection. I always call on them to protect me, my children, my parents, because we're all blood. We're all connected. It's almost like it's their job to protect us. Just like when I pass, it's going to be my job to protect, those that come after me. So just talk to them. Start that communication. And later you can start with the candles and the honoring and everything.
All the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's just such a simple reminder, right? Just speak from your heart. And that's really what it comes down to. I've had these conversations with other women, and if you just show up with love and respect in your heart, the things that you attract, the people that are going to come to you, the frequency that you're on, is the frequency that you're going to receive, right? If you're energetically showing up, be like, I love you, I miss you, I wish you were here, and you put that out there, that
Mm-hmm.
frequency that's there, that's what they're attracted to
Yeah.
your, and not to say that when you're sad and different things that they're not going to be there, but when you start showing up from a place of veneration and support and love, and you know, from that deep sense of like, oh man, I miss you. I remember when we
Mm-hmm.
used to dance, remember the song that we used to play, or when we were in the kitchen cooking. Begin sharing those stories and remembering. They want to
Mm-hmm.
be remembered. And I think that's such a beautiful reminder. Just talk to them,
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge them. They're
Yeah.
there,
And
right?
yeah, and like you said, share those memories like of your grandparents and
Yeah,
those you knew that passed away. Share those memories. I try to tell my
yeah,
kids, things that my grandma did and my grandpa used to
yeah,
do, and because they were small or they weren't born yet. So
yeah,
I am always trying to remind them and tell them stories, and those stories are what remind you to do too,
yeah.
and to keep those traditions, and so your kids have those stories too. Like there's a lot of traditions and things that my grandma did that I'm find myself doing even more now that I'm older. And and like now that I'm older too, it's like things kind of click of why she was the way she was and how she did things, and like it's all like making sense and stuff. But
Yeah.
the other thing too is that about the ancestral like healing, and um I think that's like another step forward
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
later conversations. But
Yeah.
that's
That's a whole
also, I
other
think,
conversation.
yeah, because that's a lot too. But I think
Uh-huh.
that's important too, is
Yes.
to work on that as well, to heal
Yes.
those things. But that's a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother
That's
thing.
a
That's a
whole
deep dive
nother, it's
into
big. That's a big
yeah.
one.
That's a big, and it's different pieces and different steps, and it looks
Yes.
different for everybody because
Yeah.
there's some deep dark stuff that we carry with us, and I mean
Right.
that's a whole.
And I think too, like I think there's things that are very simple too that we look over, especially in our culture. There are things
Mm,
that are not as big as other things, but simple that we can easily repair and
yes,
fix. Um,
yes.
but yeah, and especially
But
with,
we have to be in that space, right? Like we
yeah.
have to be open to having those experiences, to having those conversations, to having those
Hmm.
connections, right?
Right.
Because some of that stuff is heavy and some of that stuff is
Hmm.
super light, but being in a place where you're open to actually having those conversations and what you're going to receive from them and the messages or the signs, or I mean,
Hmm.
oof,
Yeah,
that's a
it's a
whole
lot.
other. I know it's a lot, but oh my
We'll have
gosh,
to do
thank
it.
you
We'll have to
so.
do another one.
Okay. Oh, look, I told you. I told
I
you. I was like,
know.
once you do the first one, I was like, te vas a picar. You're going to be like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this wasn't so bad. We can do another one. See? I see you. I told
Yeah.
you.
I'm ready. Let's
Oh,
book it.
I love that. So, number one, thank you so much for coming on, and I hope you had a good time. I had so much fun. I
I
love these
thank you so much.
conversations.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for talking me through this, because I know I was really, really nervous, and I don't know why. I don't know why I was
It's
so nervous, but
Hey, it's your first time. I popped your cherry.
yeah, you did.
I totally did. So I want to give you an opportunity. I know you have some classes and you have some stuff coming up. I'd love to give you an opportunity to share what you're doing. And also, if anybody has any questions, I'm sure Melissa or myself, we would be happy to answer a couple questions. Take advantage, since you have her here live, if anybody would like to ask any questions. If not, you could, DM or put it in the comments later. But please share anything that you have going on or that's coming up, how people can contact you, and where to find you.
Okay. I am available mostly through just DMs. Just DM me. I will get to you. Um, for services, I have it in my highlights for what I offer for services. Right now, I pretty much only do candle work, spell work. I do not do classes. It's a big thing. I just don't do classes.
Yeah.
But however, I don't do classes, but I do 2 moon group rituals a month, the full moon and the new moon. And about, I don't know, 6 months ago, I started writing a home ritual that you can do at home on your own while I do mine. Then you have your own. And I take a lot of time to write these rituals out for you. I make them easy. But they're strong, they're good, but I really feel like it does teach you and it does help you connect to your own magic. So I do that every 2 weeks, full moon, new moon. I have one coming up next week for the new moon in Scorpio. I'll post about it. I usually post about 5 days prior to the moon ritual of spots being available and stuff. Let's see. I do services whenever. You just have to DM me. And then the other thing, I have an Etsy shop. That link is in my bio. I make a slew of things. I make conjuring oils. I make candles. I make spiritual baths. All kinds of stuff. Right now, my shop's a little bit puny because I just sold out on a lot of stuff. I make everything in small batches, so that's pretty much how I run my shop. What I have together is what I put in my shop. So, but that's what I got, I guess. I think. Oh, and then I have the Dios de los Muertos honoring ofrenda, and I still have spots available for that. I make a big ofrenda in my living room here, and I have a post in my profile for that too.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, so much good stuff. Ooh. I'm gonna have to go check out your little tiendita, see what I need to pick up from you. Go over there and do some shopping. So if anybody has any questions, if not, we're going to let Melissa go. She's been here sharing all of her beautiful stories and her words of wisdom and, you know, her energy and her love and her space with all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
It was my pleasure having you and all your beautiful followers, all my followers who come and share this time with us. Thank you all so much. You know, I respect all your time and your energy. You know, it is a beautiful exchange coming, being here with us. And so thankful for all you beautiful, lovely people out there. So, Melissa, say, love her. Hi to everybody. Hi. So many hearts, so much love. So Melissa, thank you so much. Go check out Bruja Melissa at the Witching Hour 3. Yes. 13. _13.
Yes.
Yes.
And my shop is The Raven and La Bruja. That's my Etsy shop. That's pretty much our business name. And yeah, so that's it. That's me.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Have a great rest of your week. Melissa, thank you, Mama.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate you. All right. Bye, everyone.